purple shirt for
My book is called With Rough Gods. I have some audio copies of it over there. It's available on Amazon starting today. And it's about some Greek gods. I'm going to read a couple sections of it, or a couple parts from one section of it. The chapter is called The Endless Streets of Life, The Rise of Men. The Endless Streets of Life is a phrase taken from Thomas Wolfe's You Can't Go Home Again, which is the best American novel. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong. There's a balcony over there to jump off of. The first three poems deal with Orpheus. Orpheus and Persephone, Orpheus and Eurydice, and Orpheus and the Maenads. Orpheus, who you know, is the Greek poet, our first poet, our ancestor, father of poetry. He talks to Persephone, the goddess of the dead, trying to figure out how he can sneak his wife out of Hades. And then Orpheus and Eurydice is an apostrophe to his dead wife. And the Maenads are who killed Orpheus because he rejected all women after his wife was completely gone from him. So, Orpheus and Persephone. Your words are wet with wit, but don't deceive yourself. Our love is not a shelf of jars to mix with spit and mud and pretty lies, then swirl around your mouth to transmute north to south and conjure willing sighs. Awe is not love. And here we live and rest, alone, unstrained by passion, fear, and song. We see no dove. Our sigh is not your moan. We know not pity love.
Yeah.
Next poem is Orpheus and Eurydice. His dead wife, long gone, he speaks to her memory. Language is a storm I sing. My tongue within your beats becomes your form. My words become your skin. But still, cacophony draws you away from me until the words between our jaws are lost beyond my skill. So I write for every ear, pretending I am proud, pretending you will hear or listen to these few words cast before the crowd that I once caught for you. Thank you. The last one is Orpheus and the Maenads. They tear into bits, and his head floats down the river, continuing to sing poetry.
Yeah!
Orpheus and the Maenads.
Rivers.
I gave my head to art. You took the rest of me. Tore flesh that all might see impaled upon your heart, your power over me. Sublime control of art and rank seduction's heart, the corpse of poetry. My corpus incomplete, the river drinks my blood. Now, silenced in defeat, I sing with wiser tongue. My words that were a flood have left me for the young. These next few poems deal with the story of Perseus. Perseus was the son of Danae. Danae's father heard that her son would one day come up and kill him, so he thought the best thing to do would be lock his daughter in a big brass tower.
Yeah!
With no way in or out. And Zeus, having nothing better to do, looked down on Danae and said, "Damn, girl, you fine." And so came down and visited her as a golden shower. Those of you who don't really know Greek mythology, lots of fun. So, in a golden shower, Zeus impregnated her. Of course. And her father found out about this, got really pissed off, thought, well, I can't kill you because clearly you've been knocked up by a god. So I'll just put you and your little baby son in a box and throw you into the ocean.
Yeah.
They landed on shore. They were rescued by this guy whose name, I kid you not, is Dictys. No, I wish I were, but I'm not. I'm glad I'm not. Anyway, Dictys and his brother, Polydictys, raised them. They're from Jersey. Polydictys is the king and really wants to marry Danae. She's having none of it. Perseus is kind of cock-blocking him. And so he says, well, I'll send Perseus off to get killed, and then there won't be anything in between him and me and his mom anymore. But he sends him to go kill the Medusa. Perseus pulls this off because, last time we checked he was the son of a god. Comes back, shows Polydectes the head of Medusa. He dies, turns into a stone, and all of that. I start with the story of Poseidon and Medusa. In case you don't know, Medusa used to be a beautiful woman. She was raped by Poseidon on the altar in Athena's temple. Now, in some versions of the story, she wasn't raped. She was actually sort of seduced and liked it too. But, it just depends on who you're asking. So here's Poseidon and Medusa, and then we'll get into the Perseus story. Poseidon and Medusa. On this wet rock you come. My hair around your waist in streams like ocean foam. The pressured, salty taste rests upon my tongue. As we swallow the night, the morning rises stung and stained with our delight. Here in this temple, crows are swelling from the altar, screaming the holy vows I promised I would keep. I have done much more than falter, and vengeance never sleeps.
Yeah.
The next poem is Danae and Acrisius, her father. I imagine him as a drunk because my father was a drunk, and I imagine all bad fathers as drunks. Danae and Acrisius. Rum-stumped you stumble in, black heavy lids blink, heaving hate like your wicked pen, commanding me to sing. But there are no notes here. This room is empty, save for our two bitter tears, throats silent, marked, and grave. A filthy ray is crossed between us from the window. Not the sun, it's lost, but manufactured light dragged screaming to this show, your solitary fight. All right, Danae and Zeus. The seduction poems are fun to read, right? Insolent lightning seeps into the whites of stars, of clouds of eyes, and all the crowds you captivate will weep when I receive your rain, or so I dream. My need for your attention bleeds freely, but I remain. These walls become your arms, these slits your fingers clasped, this wind seducing charms. I open to your storm in this temple bound with brass. Convert me, make me home. Thank you. Danae and Dictys. He rescues her. He's a fisherman, and his brother's the king. I don't know how that works. But anyway, he's a fisherman, and he rescues her from the water. And of course, she's pretty, and he would like to marry her. This is her response to him. For rescue, sir, I'm grateful. Your hand was provident. Of nothing more be hopeful. Our stars aren't heaven bent. I'll take your arm on broken ground while my steps are wary. But that gesture is just a token. Our path is temporary. Don't get me wrong, you're sweet with your muscles and your tan, but you don't cut my meat. And though you think it odd, there's no allure in men once you have had a god.
Oh, what a bitch. What a bitch.
Too soon. All right. And then Perseus and Medusa. Medusa, of course, turned into this terrible snake-headed monster who turns everyone into a statue. I imagine her being quite lonely.
Fair enough.
Black, decrepit walls stand still. Blank teeth that bite and scatter silence fall upon my failing sight, and I am moved by unmoving stone. Earth's flesh tears my flesh, and the rain brings no soothing rest. Every wound is fresh. The mirror that you see me in is lying. Take another step. Feel free to lift your blade. Surprise me, waiting, wide awake, held by these statues' eyes. And then Perseus comes back with the severed head of Medusa to Polydectes' party, and he says, what did you get? Oh, this. Perseus and Polydectes. Polydectes, by the way, was a total dick to Perseus when he was growing up. Within your walls I stood as before, poor, dependent on your grace, no good, ungrateful. So you sent me out into the world to live your yielded youth. I found foul fog that curled around a viper's tooth. You knew my words were lies. Your bloated hatred spun at me agape. Your eyes, an empty marble screen that didn't reckon on the weight of what I'd seen. And this last poem that I'm going to read is actually on my business card, and if you really like it, there's some over there. And it can be yours. You can own it. This is the poem that started everything, actually at last AWP. I had a lovely evening with a wonderful, intelligent woman, and it was just like, oh, look, I can have a platonic evening with a person and have a great time, and I must be a grown-up. And so I wrote this poem about it. We were sort of shivering. I don't know if you guys were there last year. There was this wonderful reading on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial when it was about, I don't know, 3 degrees Kelvin outside. And so we were all huddled together for warmth. And it was really a lovely thing. And in finding a name for it, I was looking for any possible platonic pair in history or literature or mythology, and there are none. And so I went with Pyramus and Thisbe, because at least they didn't consummate their relationship. So, Pyramus and Thisbe. Entombed in stone that glints like voices in a hall of bright and timbered tile, we touch in broken tangents, shaking some warmth together. Our words and glances lost, our laughter fending off the context and the weather. Travel is a dream that we can never live. But seeing through the seam, I treasure what I've missed, for nothing's as enchanting as your lips unkissed.
Yeah!